day, parents. Welcome to our talk show. I am your moderator. My name is Ifnaya Obianyo. We are here to trash a very important topic. He loves me not. We want to see how fathers come in the upbringing of the children. How father is important in the upbringing of children. There is this saying that goes, if a child is good, it's for the father. But if a child is bad, it's for the mother. Then why is the father not there for the upbringing of children? I'm here with my colleagues. On my left hand side is
My Fitubori.
Olo Mojisola.
Samuel Olabi. On my right hand side is
Fatima Abdulkarim.
Sarah Obola.
you are all welcome to the talk show. Miss Fatima, you have heard about the topic. What is your own point of view about the topic?
Thank you very much. Well, in my own opinion, the father's availability is highly needed physically. So many people think becoming wealthy and famous is the key to automatic happiness. But I like to debunk that stereotyped idea, or should I say, fantasy. Funny enough, many parents think they can buy over their kids' love by giving them extremely expensive gifts, which could even go as far as intimidating their peer groups. But this is very, very wrong. Why? Because a child's development is extremely delicate and intricate, and so parents should be meticulously careful. First of all, training is a basic requirement. According to Ephesians 6 verse 4, which says, "And you fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of the Lord." Note the phrase, "and you fathers." Now let's have a quick glimpse at the future of these two families. Of course, they'll be very different because the money has made most rich kids very indisciplined. Some would see others as trash and would want to constitute themselves of great nuisance and trample on the rights of others. I have a question though. How can such a child be independent in the future when he's so incompetent and indisciplined? Let's not forget that even spiritual training is needed from the fathers, because as Christ is the head of the church, so is the father the head of the family. Can an absent father achieve this?
Thank you. This is a question thrown to the audience. Can an absent father achieve this? No. To you, Master Efe, what is your own point of view? I've heard Miss Fatima.
I believe that a father can express his love and responsibility in his absence by giving gifts and other forms of appreciation because of his inavailability due to the duty call. If a father is not ready to take up the role of the sole provider or the breadwinner of the family, how then does he want to be addressed as a real man?
Thank you very much. I'll throw this question. You have heard what our two colleagues have said. What's your own point of view? How possible is for an absent father to contribute to a child's upbringing?
Well, an absent father cannot at all contribute to the child's upbringing because he's not there. Now, the father is the disciplinarian in the house. Mostly in male children have the tendency to stand up to their mothers during their teenage age of anger and stubbornness. But the father is there to shut them down and teach them discipline. Now to the parents, can you help an indisciplined child? A child with discipline is a child with morals, a child with values. The presence of a father is highly important in the family.
Thank you very much. Ms. Mojisola, do you agree with what Ms. Fatima just said?
I disagree with that idea. Why? Because without the father being there, a child can as well get spiritual provision. A child can get spiritual provision by getting closer to his mother, getting closer to pastors, prophets, and his Sunday school teachers. And there are also some fathers who are not born again. Some don't even believe in God. Now tell me, how can a father that don't believe in God give his child spiritual provision? There's no way. So without the father being there, the child can as well gain spiritual provision from people around him.
You said the father can get his spiritual provision from others. Yes. If a child has a dream at night, do you expect the child to come and run to Pastor Yo for prayers?
That's why your mother is there. She's there to give you the spiritual provision you need. There's this quote which says, "It is very hard growing up with a father, but if you have a fabulous mother, she can play both roles for you." That means anybody that, if you have a mother that can play both roles for you and she can do what a father can do, then why does the father need to be in the family?
Thank you. Thank you very much. You can see our mothers are saying tell them. Fathers, You don't have anything to say? To you, Miss Samuel, it is possible for an absent father to provide for his child spiritually.
An absent father can provide for his child spiritually.
Oh, really? Why?
A father's job is to provide for the family. And also, when you mean that a father provides for the family, he provides spiritually through marital provision. Because when a child is born and he is raised in a Christian manner, he is bought a Bible as a present to build himself in a spiritual manner. So how can a present father who does not work, who lacks money, and is living in poverty, help his child a Bible to read and become a Christian in life?
If I may cut in, Master Samuel, what do you mean by a middle-class father is poor? What is your definition of a middle-class father? A middle-class father, let me put it to you, he can provide for his family. He might not be as rich as the extravagant parent, but that does not mean that he cannot provide for his family. And when the Bible is talking about provision, does that mean that it's only material provision? Why not look at the diverse aspects?
But do you know that there are some fathers who are present but they are absent?
What do you mean by that?
You may not understand what I mean, but they are present in the family but they don't do anything.
Really?
The kind of father that they are at home but they are unapproachable. Their children are scared of them. They cannot even come and meet them.
In those circumstances, we can understand.
They are scared of them because they are disciplined.
It's a lie, excuse me. When you say discipline, a father mostly beats his child, and punishment is a principle of revenge.
Yes, he has to beat his child so that the child will learn. Whether you like it or not, you must learn.
Discipline means to correct the child, not to beat the child and
What
give him
makes you think that the father will not even correct his child?
The Bible says spare the rod and spoil the child.
But the Bible says, Colossians 3:21, please, father, not to provoke your children because they will become discouraged. And when a child is discouraged, the self-esteem is destroyed. And how will a negative self-esteem child become great in life when he does not even have the confidence to walk up to his teacher and ask him questions?
Master Samuel, let me come in here. There is some fathers that is around. The children respect the father the most. I noticed that because the mother is soft-hearted. They look at how many months they carry the child. So I don't think mothers, will you like to lose your children? So what are you saying?
See, when a mother is about to scold her child, she does not care about the months. She corrects the child, not beat the child to give him injury and now become a paralyzed person. No. A mother corrects the child to make him better at what he does. So when he grows up, he will never depart from that training. As he said in the Bible, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will never depart.
If I may cut in here, Master Samuel, when you've not imbibed godly character in your kids, how then do you expect that the child will not be a disgraceful and a woeful child to the family? Can a child who has been imbibed with the fear of God fall under peer pressure and therefore be easily influenced? Of course not. There was something really interesting I saw in a movie I watched. A young girl was trying to get the attention of her father, that cultists in her school were pestering her in order to initiate her. But the father never had time for her. He was busy traveling from Japan to Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to Canada, from this place to that place. But the only time he could stop and listen was when the child finally joined the cult and brought great havoc to the family. But he turned to the mother and he said, "You, look at your child. Look at." He blamed everything on the mother, the poor upbringing of the child. Now in Africa, do you know that the concept is that the mothers are left with the responsibility of bringing up the child? But in this same Africa, when the child is a disgrace to the family, the father will walk up to the mother and say,
Excuse me.
Finish.
When it comes to marriage, there's cooperation, division of labor between the husband and the wife. The husband's job is to provide for the family and the wife's job is to take care of the children. So when the child is in trouble in school, she goes to the mother for help. When the mother cannot handle it, she goes to the father for help.
But in this same Africa, the concept is that the mother should leave the responsibility of bringing up the child is left on the mother.
Traditions are meant to be broken.
Really?
So when African come to that concept, I don't allow
But
that.
this
We
is
are in
African
Nigeria,
center.
not Africa. This is
Africa.
Nigeria.
Sorry to say, Nigerian children, when they beat their children, the first thing they say is, "I will tell my daddy for you." Not I will
Thank you
tell
very
my
much.
mommy
Thank
for
you very much. The argument is too much. I still have a question to ask. A study conducted by the University of Baltimore, Maryland in 2012 states that suicidal and with low self-esteem, Maryland in 2014 states that children with absent father grow up to be a suicidal and with low self-esteem. How true is this?
Very true.
This is serious, so let me hear from you.
Because when children lack their father's love with them, because there is this special bond God gives between the child and the father. And when the father is not there, there are most problems that the child cannot go and meet the mother for. And the child will need the father. And there's something they call depression. And depression will come upon the child, giving the child low self-esteem. And thereby making the child feel there's no use of being in this world again, which leads to suicide.
Sarah, please excuse me. So what you're trying to say that, let me take myself for example, I don't have a father, my father is late. That means I'll grow up to be a suicidal or what?
Of course, you will not grow up to be a suicidal. There are so many prominent members of the society that grew up without their fathers. But have you considered the greater efficiency when the both of them work together? Because two good heads are better than one.
Excuse me, it says in Amos 3 verse 3, can two work together except they agree? No. When a husband does not agree to his wife, breakdown in the marriage, divorce.
Whose fault is that? Is it not the father?
And
The mother, not all.
So leads to suicide when the father is not there.
That's
Now,
why, let's
Pastor
look
Ife,
at,
I can see you are shaking. What is on your mind?
We all know Ben Carson, right? He's a world-renowned surgeon, and yes, agreed. His mom had some troubles, making him to be the man he became today. But look at how it turned out. Even Obama, what if his father was involved in his upbringing? He might still be a village boy in Kenya today. So please, don't tell me that they can grow up to be people that kill themselves. I tried to say that me, if I don't have a father, I'll kill myself. I'll have low self-esteem. No, I know my father died because of natural causes, and I cannot have low self-esteem because of that.
Don't you know that a father is supposed to be both a role model and a playmate to his kids? Now, the bond and the relationship in which they share will contribute to how proud they make each other. As the father is the source of pride to the kid, so also
When
the son
they are
will
And then also fathers that give their children bad influence.
What if the father?
when we
See,
are talking
nah,
about father
don't
in the
tell me this
Bible,
one,
not
I
the
beg.
word of father.
That is the circumstance there. The circumstance is that the father cannot bring up the child spiritually. But here, I believe we are talking about a father who can bring up his child spiritually, and he refused to bring up his child spiritually because he's running away from his responsibility.
Excuse me. When they say the father is the head of a domestic home, which is almost an altar to them. So, are you saying if Pastor Ayo travels out now, the church cannot be run by another person? What about Mama D? So that means a wife cannot conduct a prayer. The children cannot pray for themselves. But is that what you're saying?
Of course not. That's not what we are saying. We are trying to say that there is a greater efficiency if the both of them work together.
Deficiency, we don't care about that one.
Really?
I put this question to Mama D. Mama, without Pastor Ayo, will you be here?
Thank you. Now, like I said before, if the child should become a disgrace to the family, the father walk up to the brother and say,
Excuse me, it's God that calls people into the ministry, not human beings. Because God has overall power everywhere.
Ayo to get Mama D where she
God used Ruth to free the Israelites when there was problem.
Thank you for the argument, though. Finally, who do you think the child will appreciate and love more? Oh, yeah, talk. But when the child is good, the father said, yes, it's my child. But when the child is bad, the mother will take all the blame. So I don't see.
You don't understand. When the child is good and the father said, this is my boy, who did the work is the mother, right?
Yes, of course.
The mother go take her own part of the good boy
How
and
come?
enjoy it.
How is the mother going to take her own part?
Okay, example. When a child graduate from university and gets a lot of money, like Bill Gates, when he becomes the richest man, when the man says this is my rich guy, the mama go take out of it. You understand?
How?
The mother.
Excuse me, you said that well, if there is nobody dead, if the father is not dead, the child can get menene. Please excuse me. Have you ever read Proverbs 11 verse 14? Where there is guidance, people rise, but where there is no guidance, people fall. If you
So-
see people to take you to the right path, that means you are going to succeed in life. What kind of
Really?
what the
So,
fuck?
as a child now, let's look at this from a teenager's aspect.
Excuse
A
me, ma,
teenager's
is there
perspective.
Teenagers.
Let's look at this from
From
a
a
teenager's
teenager's perspective,
perspective.
who
So, if
do
you
you think the child will appreciate? The absent father or the father that is present?
the present
Who do you
father,
think-
of course.
Just under 3 minutes, if we can round it up. Who do you think the child will appreciate greatly and love? Is it the absent father or the father? From a teenager's perspective. 3 minutes, please. Fatima, you start.
Okay. Now, I would like to say that in Proverbs 15 verse 20 it says, a wise son makes a father glad, but a foolish man despises his mother. Now we have forgotten that it was the mother that was left with the sole responsibility of bringing up the child, but the father will take all the credit. What happened? There is God, oh. How come will the father take all the credit when the mother was the one suffering to bring up the child? Please, our fathers in the house, praise the Lord, oh. Okay, please, do you want an archetype and a perfect example of yourself? They are not here. Don't you want an archetype and a perfect example of yourself? Then why not indulge yourself in the upbringing of your child?
Thank you very much. Mr. Efe. Who do you think the child, from a teenager's perspective, who do you think the child will love and appreciate more?
The child will appreciate the absent father more.
Why?
We all know we teenagers, we always want the latest. Agreed, yes, he's a medium class man. And he can't provide all this, the latest. The mom is at home. It's not the father that is providing the makeup for her to look good when he comes home. It's not that is providing the money for the food to buy. It's not the man that is providing the money for the school fees. Without him, will there be money for the school fees? Will there be anything?
Thank you very much. Miss Sarah. Okay, Miss Mojibola. Mojisola.
I would say the child will respect the absent father. Why? Because if the father is traveling, he or she knows that he's traveling for her good, to make her know that he's working for her to be stable anywhere he or she go. And to some children, when the father is absent, because of the way he treats the children, he's strict. That means absence of pain, absence of anger. Sometimes the children don't like seeing their father around because he's so strict. It's as if he just hates them. So I think the child will respect the absent father more.
Thank you. Mr. Samuel Owolabi.
I think and I'm sure that the child will respect the absent father, because there's division of labor in the marriage, and the man has made a sacrifice because of the love he has for his children, that he will work to provide for his children and leave his wife to do the work. And he also says in the Bible, Proverbs 31 verse 1, a woman of noble character is worth more than rubies and gold. So, how can you tell me he will prefer a present father? Who most fathers do are impatient with their children, who insult them all the time and put pressure on them when they do not perform well in their academics.
Thank you very much. Miss Sarah.
As you said, there is division of labor. A wise father should be able to calculate his time. He should also calculate the time that he will have time with his children. He should never leave his children alone, because nobody knows. The mother will be busy and the child might be doing other things.
Excuse me, when it comes to work.
Thank you very much. In conclusion, church, the debate goes on. Loves me, he loves me not. How we train or raise our children is very, very important. And raising or bringing up a child is not strictly the job of a mother. Praise the Lord. Providing for your child is not just